Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a GameStar presentation tonight. We will be bringing you game number 2 between the Australian team Delicious and PMS Asterisk from Singapore. I will be on the camera tonight. My name is Coldblood, and bringing the game to you, it will be GameStar's Damika and a Singaporean caster who is very well known. It is Cloud Jack. How you doing, Jack?
I am doing absolutely fine, thank you very much.
And how are you, Dom?
Very excited to be back in casting Dota 2. It's been a little bit of a hiatus for me as the CSGO scene's pulled me away, but what a game to come back to between such big name teams. Of course, our own Australian Delicious and the wonderful PMS.
Who apparently don't actually have a team name. So we can see the Timbersaw and the Alki going to get banned out. Not surprised at all to see the Alki banned. Well, and actually it was from PMS who banned that one out. They used it to great effect in the first game. So, I'm not sure why they're banning them out themselves. I guess they don't want to go against it. It is, in every Dota game I've done in the past few weeks, he's always been picked.
Yes, I can confirm that. The recent King of Games grand final, in every single game, Alchemist was either picked or banned. It was 100% pick ban rate.
Okay, of course he does bring the unstable concoction and he tanks the towers like they don't even exist. I think we're waiting for a reconnect here.
He's just such a good hero with the amount of, I guess, capability that he has. I mean, Alchemist can be played as a support role or he really played it as a carry. I mean, you can tank him up and kind of beef him out and he become almost unstoppable coming into the late game. And of course, having a hero that not only can output a decent amount of damage, initiate a fight, have an extensive stun, and survive taking quite a lot of damage. I mean, he really ticks so many of the boxes that you need. So, I mean, it's a hero that you either definitely want to have on your team or you want to deny from everybody else.
10 seconds.
Well, not surprising to see the Lich taken out. He is another popular ban since the 6.79. Made his sacrifice very, very beneficial for his team. We're just getting into the second ban here for PMS, who still don't have a name. So we'll have to remember that they are PMS Asterisk. I'll let you know where these teams are on the ladder, guys. So PMS Asterisk are number 2 on the ladder of 14 teams. They're 6-0-1, the O being the draws. And Delicious, they were 2-1-2 on Saturday. They're now 5-1-2, so either the ladder was updated or they've won a few games in the meantime. They've moved up to 7 rather than 9, so a respectable 7. And OD going to be the last ban out here, Jack.
OD?
Oh, the Outworld Devourer, sorry, that's what we call it.
Yeah. Right, okay. OD normally wins like every lane he goes to, unless people come in to gank him, and he's
10 seconds to go.
Surprisingly tanky for an intelligence hero. It's a little bit weird because you see some heroes with low armor, they look really, really tanky, like Doom. And then some heroes with very high armor, but the paper is balls.
I want to point out here, guys, Elder Titans got through. I don't think that's happened in quite a long time. So I'll be wondering if Delicious picks up. I remember that because Jackie was saying never loses lane, and that makes me think of ET. But they're actually going to go with Weaver, which is a very popular. Again, he's very, very annoying to go against in the laning phase. Wondering if PMS are going to snatch up the ET, though.
Oh, the Titan. Yeah, another hero which was very popular in the last Singaporean tournament. So, by virtue of his BKB piercing ultimate, and of course Natural Order, I suppose is more important.
What do you think, Dom? What are you expecting here?
I'm not entirely sure when it comes to these two teams. While I am familiar with PMS Asterisk, I unfortunately haven't seen Delicious play in a tournament match. I've only seen them play in their generalized matchmaking games. But I do expect to see some pretty big support picks coming out for KitKat and Ada on the Delicious side. The other support players for Team Delicious, and they're quite confident. I know that KitKat is favorable to Lishrak. So it'll be interesting to see if she picks that up again for this game. Yeah. But a Viper pick coming out from Asterisk, PMS Asterisk, he's such a brutal hero. That's going to be a bit of concern for them, especially now teamed with a Visage, who of course is probably one of the most successful and popular support heroes in the game currently.
Oh, between Viper Strike and Grave Chill, you've got a lot of lockdown there. And in the previous game, we did see KitKat and Wycol go with the the Lena and the Rubik respectively. Both of those heroes still open, and we'll have to see if they go for that one or go for what you were suggesting
10
with the
seconds
Leshrac.
to go.
As it didn't work out the best for them, but there was some very nice Rubik plays, and there was one light strike array that Kit Kat did, which was awesome. They're going to pick up the Clockwork, which of course has some great all-in and some global scouting with anti-push. So going decent so far, and we're back into the bands.
It'd be good to see if Delicious here pick up Gyrocopter. I'm a huge favourite of the Clockwork Gyrocopter combination, or really any fantastic AoE hero, especially if they're looking towards their support heroes with Clockwork. He's just such a good initiator for separating an enemy player, or even grouping up the enemy
10
players
seconds
together
to
for an
go.
AoE attack.
Oh, Leshrac would be perfect with that.
5 seconds.
What are you thinking, Jack? We've got the Slider ban out. Slider was played to great effect by PMS Asterisk in
Reserve
game
time.
1. So he was, I think he was he babysat? I think he was babysat for a couple of levels and then left 1v1 against a bounty hunter and just demolished him. With, of course, the amplified damage very vastly helped out with that. Earthshaker will be the ban out by PMS
ban.
Asterisk. Do we have any other predictions for the bans?
The bands? I'm gonna go with...
Maybe you know
something...
something about the Singaporean meta that we don't.
Singaporean meta. Oh, man.
Pick
10
ET and win.
seconds to go.
Pretty much, yeah. Someone's... Yeah, pretty much.
I'd
pick
say
all
they
the
share that
picks.
with the rest of the world.
Yeah, so it's not really, specialized in Singapore only. A
Reserve
support
time.
ban. I'm guessing Shadow Demon, maybe? Because setup and OP, or Naga Siren support.
Oh, I think a Naga Siren ban would be very smart from Delicious. We're still waiting there, drawing on their reserve time again. I'm wondering if this Weaver is going to be a carry or an offlane. We have seen both recently.
People prefer him to run carry Weaver, I guess, because Weaver in an off lane is a little bit of a gamble, more so than most, and they already have a Clockwork who frequents the off lane much more so than Weaver. So yeah.
No, that's very true.
Radiance ban.
Oh, what are you thinking, Dom? The Rubik is removed by Delicious. Guess they don't want the... Oh, well, they must be planning something with a game-changing ultimate. Perhaps the Naga Siren we talked about.
That is highly possible, yeah. I think removing the Rubik just
10
goes to
seconds
show
to
that they
go.
are probably going for a large ultimate combo to go with the
5
Clockwork.
seconds.
I mean, generally, if you pick any support or, strong AoE
Reserve
hero in
time.
general, Rubik is not someone you want to go up against, because those massive AoE spells like Naga Siren, Tide Hunter, Lich Throw banouts are no concern, but, Lich, etc. They can really turn the tide in a team fight. So having a Rubik there that can pick that up and instantly throw it back in your face is not a desirable outcome.
It would definitely be a slap in the face to take your saying away from you. The last ban out for PMS Asterisk here. They could go for the Bounty Hunter ban. It was played quite well by Ellie in the previous game. No, they go for the Naga Siren, so they
Radiant
must be
pit.
thinking along the same lines as us. They're not going to be going against that one.
And just to quickly respond to someone in the Twitch chat who is asking who Dazebi is. Dazebi is Vivian from PMS Asterisk. So PMS Asterisk have been a team that have been around since 2005. And they are the Asian segment of the PMS clan or community, which are situated in America primarily. This team has had a couple of lineup changes over the years, but of course there are some big names that you will see in this game that have been around for a long time, specifically Tammy, who is playing on Fairy Fish, or a fish for this particular game. Keep an eye out for her. She is an exceptional player.
Okay, what are we thinking, Cloud, with the Luna pickup?
Luna, oh my gosh, if there's a hero I hate
10
more than...
seconds to go.
If there's a thing in Dota which I hate more than Midas
5
game,
seconds.
it's Luna.
Oh, I'd have to reserve that hate for Weaver.
Oh, dude. Weaver is... Oh, but you see, the thing about Weaver is that Weaver requires a bit of skill to play. Luna, it's just press E, right-click, win game.
Hey man, Luna has no escape whatsoever. She's low range. You've got to be good on the positioning. When you get past the early nuking power of what is it? Not Eclipse, the Lucent Beam. You've got to be good on the positioning. And I was surprised to see Crystal Maiden make it
Dyer's
that
pit.
far through. Honestly, when we were talking about the Rubik ban out, I was thinking to myself, CM would be a great pickup for Delicious, but it did go through, and PMS going to pick that one up. And of course, we expect the Tranquility Boots to be picked up early and some roaming coming out there. Marana will be the pickup for
Radiant's
Delicious.
banned.
That could be a support Marana.
Support Marana?
Yeah, or it gets played at my level
Yes.
of 30 games played.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be a support Marana. I support on mid.
10
Probably
seconds to
support.
10 seconds to go.
Disruption into arrow. Very strong
5
combination,
seconds.
but not that reliable, all things considered.
Well, they'd have to be quick on the timing. Reserve time going to be
Reserve
employed by
time.
PMS to get their 5th and final ban out. Against Delicious, they'd probably want to be banning out a mid or a support here. Do you guys have any predictions there?
Mid. Oh, you mean in terms of heroes?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Test you a bit more.
Probably something like a. They already have initiated a form of
Quap.
clockwork.
Dyer's
I was
banned.
about to say either Quap or Storm Spirit, but okay.
Oh, sure,
Yeah.
you were about to say Quap.
No, dude, I was justifying, but okay.
No, I agree with you. A roaming mid with a lot of burst would be a great pickup for Delicious, so makes
10
sense to ban the
seconds to
Quap
go.
out. And what are you thinking for Delicious's ban here, Dom?
5 seconds.
I have to excuse me there. I was discussing things with the Twitch channel about the
Reserve
the current
time.
layout of the teams, just informing people of who is who in the
10
team.
seconds to go.
Final ban. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure what they're going
5
to.
seconds.
What about? Oh, Clinks. It's actually not something I would have
Pick.
expected. But not necessarily a bad ban either. I mean, Clinks can be absolutely brutal, especially if it gets out of hand in the early game and he gets some decent farm. He can just absolutely screw everything up for you.
Yeah, I know that he can 1v1 almost anything. He's a common ban out when you're going for the Nature's Prophet, as Clinks can kind of sneak up on him and insta-give him. Bounty
Dyer's
Hunter
pick.
will be picked up by PMS Asterisk, and there is not much detection in the terms of getting him out of that stealth walk on Delicious' side. They may alter up what they were going to go for to try and rectify that. Not sure what else there is that reveals, honestly. I'm just trying to think.
Bounty Hunter is going to be kind of brutal for Delicious to be going up against here, not necessarily because Bounty Hunter, of course, is an invis hero and does
10
significant
seconds
damage,
to go.
but that track is absolutely massive for that team. They do have a
5
reasonably
seconds.
greedy lineup here with the Viper and Luna, so having that extra money come in from a track kill is just going to
Reserve
skyrocket
time.
them coming into the mid end game situation.
Okay, so Witch Doctor will be the last pickup. I think this is only the second time I've ever got to cast him. He's picked quite frequently at my skill level, which is the worst of the worst. But we will get to see him in this game here, so I guess it will be a mid Marana.
Mid Marana. Does sorry, after you.
No, that's alright. I was just simply going to say, based on their lineup, just of who they normally play. Ellie, as we can see, actually, I'll go through the lineup while we're doing this. Anyway, so on the PMS side, we do have Miss Jovial on the Viper. We have Yarn on the Visage. We have a Fish, otherwise known as Fairy Fish, on the Bounty Hunter. We have Clover, better known as Wanderers, on Luna, and Dazebi on the Crystal Maiden. And switching over to the other side, we have Missy playing on the Weaver, Ellie playing on the Clockwork, Kit Kat on the Witch Doctor, Stranger playing the Shadow Demon, and Kiori playing the Marana. Let the viewers know Kiori is currently filling in for Ada, the normal player of Delicious, who unfortunately due to latency issues cannot play on this particular server. So we wish Kiori all the best. And we'll have to keep an eye out on Ellie on this one. Ellie is the solo lane player for Delicious, and she's also the team captain, so expect some really fantastic calls from her.
Okay, so the game is just going to start here, Cloud. I'll
30
hand it over to
seconds
you
to
and
go.
Dom, as you are much better at this, at knowing what's going on than me. So the lane setups at the moment looks like Visage, Crystal Maiden, and the Luna will be at bot against what looks to be a off-lane Weaver, which we thought wasn't going to happen. Do you think that's a little bit unsafe for them, as Missy's going to run forward, get frostbited up, but we'll be able to Shikuchi out quite easily. Grave Chill, we did go off, but Shikuchi, of course, gives max movement speed,
The
and
game is on.
she will quite easily get out of there.
They are swapping the lanes around.
Okay.
Yeah, they are. They are. It's gonna be a defensive tri-lane at top, and Clockwork's gonna solo up bot.
Okay, so we've got... Yeah. Yeah, you were right. I think Dom's talking to the Twitch chat, so we'll keep it up. We have the Viper versus the Mirana in the mid. Not sure how Mirana goes as a solo lane. It all looks like she's not going to be soloing for the moment. We have Shadow Demon there. Has not leveled anything just yet. Of course, the thing I like to say about Bounty Hunter is he will, if he's good, he'll always find a way to get XP. And XP is all a bounty hunter needs to do the damage that Dom talked about before. So we have Kit Kat going to start pulling the lane up here. Nothing too similar going on down at the bot, or looks like Hyen is going to try and catch the next wave. Do we think Ellie's going to be in some trouble here in the 1v3 until she picks up the power cogs?
Sorry, you can go. Oh, thank you. I think Ellie, she's going to play really, really careful here. I mean, the big thing, she's up against the Crystal Maiden, who is I think, one of the best support characters. I absolutely adore Crystal Maiden for her ability to frostbite and sort of take people out or immobilize them in time for the rest of the team to respond. But she's playing Clockwork, which is a hero specifically played for the offlane ability. It can get gold, it can get experience without necessarily putting itself into risk. And Ellie does play offline. It is her offlane. It is her primary position. So she's going to know what she's doing here. She's going to be sensible about it. She's not going to put herself into any situation that she can't handle. So I don't think that we have to worry too much about her. Just hoping that we get some good rotation coming from the double mid lane to assist her in getting some early kills, getting some early levels.
Okay, well we can see the Sentry Ward going off at top, completely mirroring what happened in the first game in reverse, of course. It was Ellie on the Bounty Hunter in that game, and she had a very difficult time after getting caught out in the top part of the river. What do you think about what Strange is doing here, Jack? He's been hanging around with Kiori in the mid instead of pulling the lanes. What do you think about that? Oh, he's just going to get an Invis rune, and he's going to be going back to the mid.
This is all to secure the lane against Viper, because Viper is a very, very strong solo laner. Just look at that poison attack, right? At level 2, it's got... Wait a second. Oh, okay, looks like they removed the cooldown. Ignore me then. But yeah, it's a very, very strong laner, especially if you want to harass him because of corrosive skin. You end up taking a lot more damage than you actually dish out.
Oh, we can see that Strange are going to be coming down to the bottom lane here with an Invis rune up. Darzibi could be caught out a little bit here. She is indeed going to be imprisoned up, and there are a couple of Crystal Maidens there. Global Flare will go off, but Ellie not able to provide much of help there. And actually the Lucent Beam going to stun her up for Hyen to get the first blood there. Nice turnaround from PMS Asterisk.
That was extremely questionable. It was just a Clockwork who's only level 1, and your Shadow Demon who's only level 2. What could you have accomplished?
Well, maybe she thought that the Clockwork was level 2 and could provide more to the fight.
Maybe.
You've also got to remember too that Delicious, while they are, I think, quite a strong team and work really, really well together, they are against PMS Asterisk, who have been around for a very long time, are very well known, and are currently quite highly ranked as a Dota 2 team. So, I mean, they're going to be a little bit on the back foot here, I think, just out of sheer respect for the team that they're going up against. So perhaps was rotating there, in the hopes to get an early gank going off. And, it is a little questionable, but I can understand the mentality behind it, when you're up against a team like this.
Fair enough.
So we'll have a look at the farm. All three damage dealers of PMS Asterisk doing quite well. The smoke will be picked up by the Shadow Demon, who is Wycull Stranger. We'll have to see if that turns into any successful future ganks, as Ellie is now at still at the 0 last hits, being zoned out very heavily by the Crystal Maiden. Global Flare helping a little bit with being able to be in XP range almost, has just hit the level 2. As Shadow Demon and the Witch Doctor, they're going to pop up the smoke, and we'll have to see if they can make something happen. They're going to secure themselves the regeneration rune. No, they're going to run over behind and come through the lane into the bot. The regen rune has been popped or pinged. We'll have to see which team manages to gain control of that one, as the supports for Delicious going to be coming into the lane.
Let me just go off on a tangent in a bit and point out the fact that Bounty Hunter decided to keep his decided to get 2 points in the Janada. The common build is normally 3 points in the toss to maximize burst.
Oh, Clover may be in trouble here, guys. Down at the bottom lane, the cask will go off from the Witch Doctor. Will that be enough for the imprisonment to go off? It will, but Ellie is still only level 2, not able to provide much to the fight. Witch Doctor healing will go off. Cogs will trap the Crystal Maiden in, but that may turn around and bite her in the behind, as it is currently a 2-for-1. The Crystal Maiden going down in exchange for Ellie and the Witch Doctor, who is Kit Kat. And Shadow Demon going to be able to pick up some nice XP here. And instant teleport comes in from Ellie with a shared Tango and 6 charges in the wand. Going to be able to pick up some much needed farm. But again, a nice turnaround from PMS Asterisk. This bottom lane is ready for anything.
Indeed, it was a very fortuitous. Actually, no, not fortuitous. That was very clever of Clover to run through the Seagull Shop, pick up at treads, and then just run towards the rest of the team. As opposed to what most people would do, is just run back to the tower.
Well, it should definitely be noted too that we do have some fantastic vision placement here from the PMS side. They did have a sentry down just there across from the lane, which meant that when the smoke walked through there in the attempt to set up a significant gain, they actually knew they were there. So PMS were prepared for it. They were able to communicate and set themselves up, which is why that fight turned around and ended up in a 2v1 situation rather than a successful clean kill on Clover as it should have been if that vision hadn't been there. It just goes to show how important support players are in this particular game, especially in the early levels.
Well, everyone who knows their stuff knows the supports carry the carries. So Kiori having some latency issues, only at the 4 last hits to the 32 of the Viper, so not doing the best there, I think it's safe to say, as Bounty Hunter almost has his track up at the top. Weaver is sitting on 17 to the 11 of the Bounty. And, we'll have to see if the Bounty Hunter manages to get some roaming off, and if he or she loses her tower in the meantime. What are we thinking about the bottom lane here, Jack? It's definitely going in PMS's favour.
It's pretty much. I mean, this is exactly what they wanted to do because Crystal Maiden, very aggressive support. With that aspect, alongside the Visage, you've got the King of the Tri-Lane, right? And so you want to be looking for kills, and they have already succeeded in doing that, which means that this is very, very comfortable for Luna. Thank goodness, I'm getting on my hands and knees and praying to the gods. Thank you! She didn't get a mic.
Didn't get a Midas?
I must admit, I'm not a huge fan of the Midas plays, and I know that they are really popular, and they come. You've been seeing them in so many games. I actually think that the last OT game I cast, which would have been just after patch 6.79 came out, there was actually 4 Midases in the game. One of them being on Crystal Maiden, and it was just the most ridiculous game I've watched. Like, I can appreciate how great it is, but oh my goodness, absolutely ridiculous to watch.
Well, I guess Cloudjack agrees with you there. Looks like Delicious ready to get back into the game. Even going to count down. How thoughtful. As we can look at the golden XP, both very heavily in PMS Asterisk's favour, which isn't too much of a surprise. Not sure what Delicious can do at this point. Hopefully Kiori can get her farm on. She certainly needs to. The Weaver doing fairly well. He is going to get tracked up though, so we could say that's as close to a hard counter as you can get.
I think we do have, there's some concerns with the Weaver on the top lane, because when you look at the last hit and deny situation, we do have the Viper and the Luna reasonably well ahead, and these are the 2 heroes that I said would be an issue, especially with track kills coming in from Fairyfish, that, if they get enough farm and they get enough items early game, they're going to get out of control very, very quickly. So that Weaver really needs to get into a position where she can farm and she can build up those items to even give them a chance coming into kind of the mid-late game. They're going to need a lot of very successful team players here.
Okay, well, we got pings going off from Miss Jovial on the Viper, signaling that the Witch Doctor has slipped away. And of course, we can see that she is at the bottom lane. Shadow Demon going to take a Crystal Nova for her troubles of moving into the river there. A hasted up Crystal Maiden almost runs into a bad situation as the cask will bounce off there. Arrow will barely miss 2 of PMS Asterisk's players there, as I think Kiori really needs to be farming at this point. As someone has a laugh.
That sentry ward is so close from scouting out that observer. Oh well.
Oh yeah, it is close. Nice ward placement by the Delicious girls. able to watch if the Viper roams down, but of course Miss Jovial just having the farm time of her life at the 42 and 17. Next up is Clover on the 28, 11, and of course doing very well on the kills and assists, 101, Visage 102, so he's been a part of every single kill so far. Up at the top lane, we can see Missy and A-Fish having a little bit of a dance back and forth. Time-lapse is available, but Missy is not quite mannered up enough to use it. And now we can see the 3v3 down in the bottom lane. We'll have to see if it turns around anyone.
Important thing to note here with this bottom lane too is that Visage at level 4 and, you know, just before the 8-minute mark does have mana boots. It may not seem to some like such a major item there, but mana boots, especially with a lineup with Crystal Maiden and even Luna, that's actually a huge item to have gotten before the 10-minute mark.
Speaking of the Visage, he's going to be caught out in the jungle here. Going to try and sprint out of there. Gets cast up. Will she end up falling? She does indeed. I don't think Ellie actually got an assist with that one. Luna going to pop the Eclipse and pick that one up. Shadow Demon going to try and run right out of there. Gets the Mirana ultimate, which of course is called the Moonlight Shadow. And is going to continue getting chased out. Arrow will land onto Clover, but now the damage is going to be turned around. And of course, the Bounty Hunter's there to lend the track gold that Dom was talking about. So ends up being disastrous for Delicious after getting a nice pickup. Oh, what are we thinking, Jack?
That track.
That track? It was a very nice teleport by a furry fish to come down just when something was going on.
I want to point out though that Furryfish has been forced to go back to the fountain twice at the top lane. This is giving Weaver a lot of free farm.
Oh, she's definitely catching up. She's actually second in the game now, quickly catching up to the Viper, who was against someone who was lagging the heck out. So doing a fantastic job. That may be Delicious's salvation.
Maybe, but Weaver needs a lot of items, man.
Yeah.
The big issue here too.
Oh, stranger. Oh, no, she's going to get out in the end. The magic wand helping out there. That was a nice frostbite into, I think it was a Lucent Beam, or it may have just been the Bounty Hunter. But that was going to force them out of there. Kit Kat and Negativity are down here. With Ellie's actually transitioned to the mid to try and pick up some farm. Sentry instantly goes down at the bottom lane. And the bottom tier 1 for Delicious going to start taking more and more damage. The, what is that witch doctor thing called? The Voodoo Restoration going to start restoring the health of the Shadow Demon, who was in a little bit of trouble earlier on, and Ellie going to be picking up some much needed XP and farm here. Getting closer and closer to the hook shot, so hopefully we can see some big clockwork plays.
It's a lot of gold being invested into sentry wards.
Yeah, I think it's quite smart, honestly. They could have a Weaver sneak down at any point. Oh, actually, I was going to miss that fight down to the bottom lane. Sorry, ladies and gents. Looks like the Witch Doctor will go down there. The Mirana ultimate not yet available. Weaver is down, but he passed right by a sentry ward and is still tracked up. So they're going to be well aware that she is down here. Will she be able to make anything happen? It looks like no, she will not. And
that mid lane though, Ellie getting harassed there and eventually going down to basically a two-way attack from Viper and Visage. And as you were saying before, that Viper Visage combination is absolutely brutal. I mean, that's so much damage output right there. And Viper is really getting ahead of them money-wise. I mean, Viper now working towards the BKB. Only needs the recipe to finish that one up. And, you know, we did talk about how a lot of money was being invested in Sentry Wards, and it's true. But a good thing to note from the PMS Asterisk side is the fact that everyone, or almost everyone, has a teleportation scroll on them. And I wanted to point out earlier in that battle where we saw the arrow go out, fight going on bottom
we can see
here.
Fight down at the bot. The cask will go off, does a lot of stunning up. Clover will come out with the illusions bashing away, and Mirana will end up picking up the Crystal Maiden there. A quick return kill goes onto the Viper, onto Mirana's head, and the cogs will go off. It looks like Viper has been caught out and will get taken down. The Voodoo Restoration doing so much, although the Familiars will crash down on the Shadow Demon's head and lock her up long enough to end up going down. Cast will go out, doesn't do much of anything, ends up a 2 for 2 when all is said and done, and the tower won't take too much damage, so I think that was fairly well done by Delicious.
Radiant's mid tower's coming apart.
What are you thinking, guys?
10 to 4. 12 minutes in.
Yeah.
Luna's up to...
Fortify their structures.
Surprisingly not as rich as I thought. Luna's level 9. Weaver's level 9 as well.
Radiant's
Viper's
mid tower's
10,
coming
Mirana
apart.
is 8.
Oh, we can see hook shot. It will miss by Ellie, but a beautiful arrow lands down at the bottom lane. Ellie will pop the battering assault. That was fantastic by Kaori, landing that one. Freezing field will go off by the Crystal Maiden, but it is not enough. Very nice pickup there by the Delicious Girls, as Viper will be teleporting in. Shadow Ward will go out, and an arrow will land on top of Miss Jovial. She'll definitely be falling here. Dust of Appearance goes off as well, and a 2-for-1 so far, with Dazibi also going to be falling here. Well done, 3-for-1, as the teleport will go off by the Visage, but the damage has been done. Shadow Demons, oh, nice arrow. That will be the 4th arrow in a row to land, but a fish is here, going to be doing a huge amount of burst, and will end up picking that one up, as Weaver is in as well. Going to be shakooching forward onto Hyen. The teleport is coming in from the Luna. Dust of Appearance goes off from the PMS Asterisk guys. Missy not going to be able to time lapse out of that one due to lack of mana, and nice pickup by PMS there to end up, I think that was 4-for-2 when all was said and done.
That fight was absolutely amazing. Kiori, like, totally MVP of that, with some amazing arrow stuns there. A little bit of greedy play coming in from Missy, chasing into the tower there, which is understandable. Getting a kill on that bounty hunter would be quite a big thing, but of course the buybacks and the TPs coming through from...
And plus having no mana.
Of course, and the buybacks and the TPs coming from, PMS Asterisk, so completely ruining that grid, unfortunately, but so beautifully well played. I was a little concerned when KitKat ran in for the stun. I understand the mentality there to save Ellie, but I thought, oh no, she's put herself into a really bad situation here. But you can see the beautiful teamwork and communication from Delicious, as all players instantly turned around when they realized KitKat was going to get caught out by that Viper, and reinitiated them, which of course was successful in getting them some extra kills. And some much needed golden experience.
Okay, so they're still doing not the best in XP and gold earned, but they'll take whatever they can get right now. What are we thinking, Jack, with what's going on so far? Is Missy going to engage on top of the Viper in the mid lane? No, track will go off on to the Weaver. She's realised she has to get the heck out of there. That Razor Shuriken from the Bounty Hunter just doing so much burst with when it is maxed out, like you said. Looks like we will have a, what's it called, Battle Fury Bounty Hunter rather than the Medallion of Courage. Sorry, I missed something down at the bottom lane. Ellie going to get the engage off. Wycool going to imprison her to make her take as least damage as possible. And the Glyph of Fortification going to be used, won't be too successful. First tower will go down, and kills evening up the longer this goes on.
That tower going down is also going to give Viper her, I should say, BKB, when she decides to buy it up as well, and that is a huge thing, or a huge item for Viper to have picked up then. And of course Visage moving towards what I'm going to assume will be the mech, and getting much closer there as well. And we can also see Clover on the Luna is heading towards the BKB as well. They're a little bit further behind, still needs just over 1,000 gold to pick up that item, I believe.
Well, Miss Jovial is getting closer to the BKB as well, so 2 Black King bars going to be very handy there. And the top tower going down, Jack, what do we think of that one? As the leap goes on from Mirana, and she will get obliterated there. Voodoo Restoration not going to stop that one, as teleport will go on the... we can see the hook shot goes off by Ellie, but the cogs are just a tad too late there. Not going to be able to do much. Forced to get out there, as a Familiar is going to be slamming down. Gets the stun off. Viper going to end up picking that one up. Track goes off onto Wycool Stranger, as Weaver manages to pick up the Crystal Maiden, but has been Dust of Appearance. The Familiar does go down, the other one taking a lot of damage as well. Viper going to pick himself up a second kill as Luna gets the tower. Missy going to try and use the last of her mana to get out. Viper picking up a triple, and a fish will get the last one with a shuriken. Ends up being a clean sweep for the PMS Asterisk girls.
Guess what's happening to
That was a massacre, actually.
Yeah, it was a massacre.
That BKB, I mean, the BKB on the Viper really plays it off there. And Delicious do have the right idea of what they need to do. I mean, they do have this stun capability here of splitting up this other team and separating them. Despite the massive damage dealing, you can only really utilize that damage, if you're free to move, if you're free to attack. If you're stunned, there's not a lot you can do to come against it. And I think Delicious, if they can execute it properly, could turn some of these battles around, but they're just getting split up too much. They're just being outplayed a little bit in positioning from the PMS Asterisk side. And I think that they're going to need to work together, perhaps even see if they can do a couple of roam, get a little bit more vision across the map going, and see if they can pick some of these players off separately. If they can try and corner out either the Visage or the Viper away from the rest of the team, that would be a massive benefit to them in their attempt to push the lane. And at the moment, I think sitting back behind these towers, playing the defensive, getting more gold, getting more items so they can outlast the initial damage attack coming from the Viper, from the Visage, from the Luna, is what they're going to need to do if they want to try and turn this around. And you know what? We have seen bigger turnarounds coming from situations like this when people decide to play a little bit of Rat Dota for a while and get those items up.
Okay, engage may go on here, Jack. What are your thoughts?
Engagement.
Engagement.
Witch Doctor is now dead.
I would say you're right, my friend. And the engage going to continue going on here. BKB was popped by Viper. So much damage on the poison touch. The last outer tower for Delicious will end up falling. Missy is up at the top trying to even up the score. Will the fortification come out? No, it will not. The tower will fall, but the mid tower is going to take a huge amount of damage. As Shadow Poison is off on the Bounty Hunter, and PMS going to go back in on this one. Missy's still up at the top lane, so Delicious definitely do not want to go off on this one, particularly with 2 traps off on their team.
About dire structures right now.
Just want to say something though. Bounty Hunter is going for Lincoln Sphere or Battle Fury. Thank goodness for that.
Oh, that would make a lot more sense than Battle Fury.
Yeah.
Oh, there's someone whinging that Bounty Hunter with Battle Fury is so useless. But Lincoln Sphere would make a heck of a lot more sense.
By someone, you mean half of Reddit?
Yes. I think that sums it up quite nicely.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I think looking at the items here, I think really shows the kind of position that the way this game has gone. When you look at PMS Asterisk side,
oh, see you, stranger. Going to be stunned up by the familiars and fall. Ellie going to be close to. Oh, nice hook shot, but it will not be enough there as another kill goes down for the Bounty Hunter and the Viper. Lincoln Sphere will be finished off with that engagement. And sorry, what were you saying, Dom?
Just saying, you know, I mean, as the items say right there, I mean, Lincoln Sphere on a Bounty Hunter, you know, we've got the BKB, the crits, the mech, everything's coming out on the Radiant side for basically outright damage, you know, with a little bit of survivability, and that's massive coming from their side. I mean, that's that track kills I was talking about. You know, you get a couple of kills in the early game with track on it, and your Viper is going to get completely out of control, and that's pretty much what's happened here in the earlier stages, whereas we look onto the Dire side, unfortunately a lot of their items are still kind of in the base build. It's a lot more about survivability, about defense, trying to get the health up to try and survive these Viper attacks. And unfortunately, it's just that little bit too late coming into the 21 mark to be in that situation. But as I've said before, never count a team out. You know, I've seen a turnaround from a team when they had lost 2 racks. So it can happen. You just have to have that one perfect team battle, and they have enough stun on the Delicious side to pull that off. It's just getting these PMS girls into a much better situation, which is going to be the tricky part.
Yeah, we actually saw a really nice arrow land there, but Missy going to time-lapse into a probably even worse situation. Out of the frying pan into the fire. The cogs will go out by Ellie, but she's going to be stunned up before she can even pop that herself. Auto attack will go off on Hayakin, but of course the Gravekeeper's Cloak going to negate a lot of that damage. Tower being spam pinged by Miss Jovial there. I think she realizes that is the main objective here. Dust of Appearance will go off on A-Fish. Lincoln Sphere will absorb the cask, bounce over to the familiars, and the tower will fall thanks to that very sneaky distraction there. And of course Luna, if there's one thing she demolishes, or even though she demolishes everything, she definitely demolishes the racks.
Dire's top racks just taking hits.
The W going to be bouncing around for her. No, it's a W. It's called the Moon Glaive. It would make sense being moon and throwing glaives. I am not sure what Delicious can do at this point. They've only got the tier 3 in the mid. They've got a tier 2 at bot, which is fairly healthy, but probably not when the green team gets over to them. Kit Kat going to end up falling before being able to channel the ultimate there. Ellie going to throw out the flare. Won't do too much. A-Fish on a mega kill streak. Luna going to be jumping forward, demolishing this clockwork. Lucent Beam will go off, but nice hook shot will get her out of there for then. as the tower will get... Oh, that's not the tower, sorry. That's a building that gives gold. Never really understood why they put those in, but fair enough. Probably to slow down the minions now I think about it. As a Familiar is sleeping in the base, gonna make its way out now, and PMS gonna transition over to the bottom lane, or perhaps to Roshan, as your favourite item on the CM is going to be built here, Cloudjack. Or was it
Please,
Dom
no.
who loved the Midas?
Why? Why?
I think Furry Fish told him that you love it.
Oh man.
Guess what's happening to die at
like-
the bottom tower?
Yo, I'm just. Alright, I'm out.
You're out?
Yo,
You're done?
disconnect. Close game. Okay, bye bye.
What's the meme that has that? I think the Mary
Guy's
Poppins.
bottom
Nope, I'm
tower's
done.
getting the
I'm out of here.
business.
I think that's the one, yeah.
Okay, so
Oh,
track
Mary
going to go off onto Kit Kat. There is a Shikuchi Weaver going to be jumping forward. Flare goes off. Familiars are scouting out for the PMS girls
The Dire
as a
gave
fish
up a
going
bottom
to zone them
tower.
out. The last piece of infrastructure outside of Delicious's base will fall, and we'll have to see where PMS decides to go next. Game is definitely in their favour at this point. Their game to throw away.
25-9. Look at some graphs.
Look at the graphs.
Look at some graphs that cringe.
If this tower goes down here and PMS Asterisk win this battle, then that will be the GG, unfortunately. But for those of you who have just joined us on Twitch for the last part of this game, you are watching a fight here between PMS Asterisk, the female team from Singapore for the PMS community, and of course the wonderful Australian Delicious. And you know, it does seem though that while Delicious may have been rolled by this team just a little bit, you do have to keep in mind that PMS Asterisks have been around since 2005. These are incredibly experienced and skilled players, whereas Delicious is more of a newer team from the Australian side, and they are doing exceptionally well within this league event. They are actually only a few points away from positioning themselves in the top 5. And you know, it'd be wonderful if everyone could support these players as they go through this league.
Oh, okay, so this is going to be executed there. Monkey King Bar finished up by the Viper, who has popped the BKB is being tracked, I think. That's odd, okay. And I'd say this will be the beginning of the end here, Jack.
Dyer's mid tower could use a little help.
What is Visage doing?
Visage just walked into tier 4s. Just casually taking a leisurely stroll. Right next to the ancients and died.
Jan's just been like, yep, that's done. I'm just going to say my goodbyes now and move in. So, and we do see the GGs there coming out from Ellie. What a wonderful game we've just seen between the giant PMS and the absolutely beautiful and wonderful Team Delicious from Australia. GG, wonderful game, girls.
Okay, so we'll have to pick an MVP. There was several nice plays. There was some great arrows coming out of Kiori on the Marana. But I think we'd have to hand it to... I don't actually know, guys. What do you think?
I actually, I must admit, I'm in favour of Kiore, despite the fact that Delicious didn't win the match. I have to say, some of those arrows were so exceptionally well timed, beautifully positioned. She had some fantastic lines and position knowledge for her plays on the PMS side. Obviously, Viper is a huge player. Mr. Oviel did exceptionally well on that particular hero, but I might actually go with Fairyfish. Fairyfish just put tracks down at the right times. The rotation from top lane to bottom lane to take out the battle that went there in their jungle within the early stages of the game basically gave them the upper hand and gave them the money that put Viper on the road to victory. So I'm going to say a fish for mine.
What are you thinking, Jack? Who should get the MVP?
I was going to give it to Visage, but then that pointless death at the end was like, nope.
I was thinking Yuan as well.
I was considering awarding that to Crystal Maiden, but then Midas, so no. Let's go with you on Witch Doctor. Witch Doctor. Positioning was generally okay, generally in the right place at the right time, except for maybe a few late to the party moments, but otherwise pretty much all there.
Okay,
Witch
so
Doctor.
you guys are making this tricky for me. I think we'll have to split it between the Marana and the Visage, who had half an Ags before running into the tower. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. We very much appreciate it. This has been Cold Blood as the very talkative cameraman, and GameStar's Damika and Singapore's Cloudjack. We will be bringing you China versus Thailand in just a little while, so if you stick around, we'll be bringing this one to you. Any parting words, my friends? We'll see you at the next one.
Yo.
See you at the next one. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you stay in touch with the female leagues. They are kind of a newer thing to the Dota world as far as being advertised to the level that they are now, and we're exceptionally proud to have an Australian team in this particular battle. So make sure you keep in touch with them. You can always message Ellie through her wonderful organization at Southern Cross Dota, so make sure you check her out. And of course, PMS Asterisk. What champions going to be around for a long time yet?
Okay, this is Cold Blood, Cloudjack, and Damika signing out.